Welcome everyone, it's Gray Shirt Guy, Rock the Gray Shirt as always. We are going to do a studio update, and we're going to talk about the month of October and everything up until today, which is the 5th of November. Remember, the 5th of November. I know, it's cheesy, but V for Vendetta is one of my favorite movies, and as far as like the Guy Fawkes and all the history behind it, I don't really know much about it. I do just like Beer for Vendetta. So let's get into what we're going to talk about. We did our stop motion battle report. We released that last week, and it did really well. Comparatively speaking, for videos that are on the channel, I don't really get a lot of views, but I'm hoping to change that. So if you're a new subscriber, thanks for subscribing, and I hope the content I produce is something that you'll at least take a look at. And if there's something you really want me to see, let me know. I'm trying to do at least one video a week. But I know with the stop motion battle reports, they take a long time, so they're probably not going to come out. Next one's probably not going to come out until maybe January, February, based upon how long it takes me to paint the second army, because I have an idea of where I want it to go. And a little spoiler alert, I want to probably more than likely be Sisters of Battle versus Blood Angels because of what happened in the battle report between World Leaders and Blood Angels, and sort of a kind of a little thematic scale with Sisters of Battle coming in there. And I do have a Sisters of Battle army. I was painting it, and it's so detailed and requires much more time to paint the Sisters of Battle the way I want to paint it, that I've just decided I want to keep building all my other models before I get into Sisters of Battle. So we're probably not going to be able to get to painting Sisters of Battle until January. And so that stop motion battle report probably won't be out until February, but let's we'll keep you updated if I can get the Sisters of Battle or the Sisters of Battle army painted sooner. But let's get into what I did in October. And hopefully the camera doesn't cut out again. But if it does, I'll just edit it this time. All right, so we made a Master of Ordnance. My Talarn army is heavy artillery. If you haven't seen that video, I showcased my Talarn army. It's got 6 Basilisks, it's got a Manticore, and then it's got a lot of indirect fire. And so I didn't have a Master of Ordnance, and then somebody finally said, hey, you should get a Master of Ordnance. And I looked into it, and it's got some pretty good synergies with artillery-based armies. And so I was like, all right, cool, sure. And I could plug and play it, use it in if I have some Wyvern heavy, because I think it's Basilisk, Wyvern, and Manticores. I think it's what it works on. Not 100% sure, but I made 2 out of just some bits I had from the Cadian sprue and the Basilisk sprue, and I think that's basically what it was mostly made out of. I'm probably more than likely going to paint both of them Talarn, but I might paint one of them Cadian colors, the Cadian color scheme that I use. More than likely both Talarn, and if I have to use a Talarn Master of Ordnance, I actually might paint them more kind of Master of Ordnance-y, which if you look at like the GW website, they have like more kind of blues and whites, and they're more kind of regimental officers, not really specific to any specific regiment. They're more just like Imperial officers, but not 100% sure. Either way, they're probably going to look cool. Ugh, excuse me. But that's next time I get around to painting these. All right, let's move on. We don't want to spend too much time. I'm trying to click the next button. There we go. We picked up some basic colors that we're going to be using for our Space Wolves. We're going to be painting them brown, and because I didn't want blue, because I didn't want basic Space Wolf gray, and I didn't want black, which is I think they're kind of a blackish dark gray in the Horus Heresy. And I was thinking about myself previously when I did previously when I did Space Wolves, I painted them like Blood Angels. I painted them red, and I actually looked at Blood Wolves, which are kind of like kind of like Cornate Space Wolves fandom sort of. And I didn't want to do Blood Wolves because I had just done World Eaters. And so I wanted to go with a nice earthy brown tone, because there are a lot of brown wolves that exist. They're not all gray, and so I went with kind of an earth base coat. I might end up getting the game color air color earth. I think they have an air version of it, just so it goes through base coating on my airbrush a little bit easier. But I did pick those up for the Space Wolves. All right, moving on. We did Solar Lord Marcarius. We did the build a little bit ago, and we finally got around to painting him. I would say he's kind of a tabletop plus standard. I did a little bit more highlighting on the white than I normally would. But I think he turned out pretty well. The only downside is, if you notice, he's got a little chipping right here on the headdress is where I dropped him, which is unfortunate. I did not want to drop him, but, things happen. But he's going to be used as a company commander with a chainsword and bolt pistol, and pretty low cost company commander. And but I think it's a really nice model. So, yeah. Moving on to the back shot. All right, I found my old Imperial Guard Codex. I actually, it still wasn't lost, but I just found it, and I was like, nostalgia. So, we picked up a Steel Legion army, and we got 3 Sentinels for the Steel Legion army. We got 6 boxes of Steel Legion. Now, the funny thing is if you notice the timeline, I think for 3 more days from the release of this video, you can go on GW's website, and you can made to order the old Metal Steel Legion kit. I actually ordered these, I think at the first week of October. When is this? Well, no, actually, I ordered these in September because these showed up in October. So I ordered these in September, and then when I saw the announcement was several weeks after I ordered them, and I'm like, my friend was joking that, well, you ordered a Steel Legion, and all of a sudden they realized they still made them. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I got some Steel Legion guys, and yeah. I had Steel Legion a long time ago when I was in high school. I had like 1 squad of them, and I painted them. I thought they were really cool. I have no idea where they went. And I think I got 3 Sergeant Castus models in the month of October. And so here's one of them. We got 2 Tau Devilfish because we needed to finish up our Tau army. And so here's a shot of the Steel Legion. Now, so they give you slotted bases for everything because that's what the kit came with. And but I'm going to put the missile launcher guy and the loader on their own 60mm base. I have plenty of spare 60mm, but they're gonna have their own 60mm bases. But yeah, I think Steel Legion's gonna look pretty good once I get them all painted up. And I do like, it's not that I prefer metal models over plastic. I do like the simplicity of the metal Imperial Guard models. To me, they're both a little bit easier to paint and a little bit less detailed. But from a distance, they look great. So I think these guys are going to look awesome when I get around to painting them. But this is probably a late 2022 project, or mid to late. We finally got a large amount of our Space Wolves in. We got some aggressors for our Space Wolves, some more drop pods, and those 2 white boxes are the Blood Claw blocks. For right now, if you buy a box of Blood Claws, it comes with 15 models in there for $50. And you can actually, it's basically just the same sprue as the Wolfguard. Is it Wolfguard? No. Grey Hunter kit. And so you can actually make 15 Grey Hunters or 15 Blood Claws from that box. But they don't advertise it that way because the Grey Hunters have their own 10-man box for $48 or $45 or $46. Somewhere around $50 for just the Grey Hunters. Or you can buy Blood Claws, and they're the same sprue for the Blood Claws with Grey Hunters, at least as of right now. Could not tell any difference between the 2 boxes. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make 2 squads of 10 Blood Claws and 1 squad of 10 Grey Hunters from the sprues. And I think they're going to look pretty good. We got Wolflord Crom and we got Agrax, and he's going to look nice. And here's them on the table with basically everything. So we have Ragnar in the army. We have a Primaris upgrade kit. We've got some Assault Terminators, a squad of Assault Intercessors. I think we're only going to be using maybe 2 squads of 5, or we're not. Yeah, I think it's 2 squads of 5 from that box, or maybe 1 squad of 5. I don't remember if we're using all of that for Blood Angels. We got 3 drop pods, and so one thing that's not on this list is we're taking Relic Terminators that were in my Raptors list, but Relic Terminators got a points increase since I made the Raptors list. And so I actually moved the Relic Terminators over to the Blood Angels list, and it's just 5 Relic Terminators. I think they're... I forget what they have their load at, but what's not in here is 5 Relic Terminators that will be in this army as well. This is the pile of shame as of taking in this picture. I think we have added and subtracted from this, so we'll get into that. I ordered a Kroot Carnivore Squad because I needed a cheap troop choice for a detachment that's in my Tau army. So my Tau army is a battalion, a patrol, and a Supreme Heavy Auxiliary detachment. And so we built some Kroot up. So I built one up. I mean, I built the whole squad, but here's a picture of just one of them. And this was like the first one I built. And I haven't built Kroot in a long time. The last time I built Kroot, I was in high school. That was many, many years ago. 15, 16, 17 years ago when I first built Kroot. And they're basically the same. So we went to IKEA and we got more display shelves. And we have basically, because we have too many models in the queue for the previous shelves that I had. So we hooked them up. We got some more of these shelves, and hopefully we won't run out of room. I think I could stack the models close if we get too far, but yeah, we have a problem. And then I was doing some laundry, and here's a picture of my cat. He's just hanging out. He looks so tired. Like I was the vacuum cleaner. He doesn't like the vacuum cleaner, and he looked tuckered out, but he's fine. He's over there sleeping right now. This is the finished World Age army. I did a showcase on this army, but this is what they look like when they're stored in their case. And then I took a picture of my table while I was doing the battle report. This is how I do the stop motion battle reports. This is the tripod, the arms, the where the light is on the camera, the same camera I'm using right now. I was like, I want to block it off, because if you watch the stop motion battle report, you see a lot of the background and stuff. And I was kind of like, I want to kind of block it off and focus it more just on the table. I don't know if I went a little overboard or not. I don't think I did, but we'll see what happens. And of course, once again, my cat, because you got to add some cat in there. All right, and so October was a month where I kind of really just bought more than I really should have, and I ordered this squad because they finally made them in a female. They made a Van Diemen's World Devils female kit, basically like Australian female kit, and I never had this Chimera proxy, and I thought it looked really cool, and so I wanted to pick it up. And those two characters on the bottom, these are, if you spend, what is it, $50? For every $50 you spend, you get a free unit. So these two together were a little over $100, so I got 2 free models, and so they're I'll paint them up at some point. And then I got so I wanted to make a dedicated Salamanders army and a dedicated Raptors army. So I have my dedicated Raptors army already, and I want to make a Salamanders army, and then I realized I can actually, because Salamanders and Raptors have a roughly close color scheme. I mean, if you look at it, they're not exactly the same. Raptors are very reasonable Marines. That's what my friend calls them. They're kind of they're all green, and they have a little bit of white parchment. So my plan is to paint everything as mostly primarily Raptors, except for maybe the characters. Like if Vulcan is Stan, he'll be more of a Salamander, but I'm going to use the same green. So at least color-wise from a distance, they have the same base palette, because the Salamanders are more, what would you call them? They're more kind of a bright green than a subdued green, but I kind of want the whole thing to be a little bit more subdued. And so I ordered a 10-man Mark IV tactical squad to do a Stern Guard veterans and Devastators. And then we got Vulcan Stand and our drop pod. The drop pod is for that squad of 10. And then we got another Sergeant Krakus, because I think overall this order was over whatever the cost for it was, like $210 or whatever. And then in that order, we got ourselves the last models we need for our Slaves of Darkness kit. So our Slaves of Darkness army is all ready to go. We have all the models we need for it. I think it's 3,000 points. And we have just some filler. We got a squad of Chaos Marauders and Chaos Marauder Horsemen. And we'll hopefully get to them in 2022. And we got the War Queen, and she's looked pretty good. She was kind of the only real thing I really wanted, and I was like, well, if I'm going to get her, and she's very Marauder-ish, I should get some Marauders that kind of fill in, and so that's kind of what we did. And this is one we were filming the stop motion battle report, Bio Titan attack, and this is Lily. This is my second cat, and she just did not care. She was just in there, and I was like, please don't move the models. I'm trying to do stop motion here. Stop it. All right, then we went to the store. I was having trouble, and in the stop motion battle report, unfortunately, this cable right here goes straight down and plugged into the wall. So it's up here and it goes straight down. There's a plug down here. There's a plug over here, and it was in the way. And so unfortunately, after I filmed it, I didn't fix it until afterwards. I went to Ace Hardware and I got just a normal extension cable. Boop boop boop. And then I hooked up the lights up to this, and it's all just like Velcro and those little 3M contact strips for cable management. And so when we're not using the lights, we unplug this cable, so we're keeping our fire hazards as limited as possible. And these lights don't draw that much power either, so we're pretty good there. And this is kind of what it looks like. And then this is what the whole basic glamour shots. I went out and got the Warzone Octarius, and I don't plan on playing the Cadian army anytime soon, because the Cadian army requires a lot of painting, and it's not a hard color scheme, but the color scheme I picked for Cadians is kind of, I don't want to say the term busy. It's just more involved. There's more colors than your normal Cadian with these green, black, and face tone, and with grays. There's a little bit more colors in there because I really liked my Cadians having more of a realistic color tone with different shifts, but either way, I probably won't be playing Cadians anytime soon, but I did pick up the war book because I wanted to read it, and the lore seems pretty good, so whenever I get around to that. We bought a dolly for our tripod. So I keep having to move the tripod around doing the stop motion, and it was such a pain. And then I was like, there's got to be an easier way. And so I thought about like a tripod that just rolls around. And then I just happened to like, do we have tripod? I was thinking of a monopod, and they're like, you buy a tripod dolly. And so I ordered one, and it works great. So this will super help when I'm making future battle reports. And this is what it looks like on the dolly. And ignore the broken fan in the background. I replaced the fan in my bedroom, and that's the old fan, and I just haven't taken it to the dump yet. And this is when we built our Carnivore Squad. So there was so much moving parts and so much work I had to do that it took me a while. It took me a lot longer to actually sit down and build these crew than I wanted to. So this is like the second crew. We got a backdrop for our table, and this is me hooking up the backdrop. And I had to like cut slits in it a little bit in the top corners just to kind of get it to go around the frame. And it's not centered to that, but these aren't centered either, so apologies. It's kind of based upon where everything was, and so it'll be fine. And that's what it looks like from different angles. And so then this is what it looks like after it's kind of set up a little bit. And so this is our World Eater's kind of little photo shoot. I think it looks cool. And this is actually, it's funny, these are the pictures that I used to make the thumbnail for the Lost STC stop motion battle report. I mixed this with this, and not that. I think I took it out. It's the picture of the objective marker. And then of course, I caught my cats hanging out, and normally they don't hang out like that, but I was like, adorable, had to take a picture. So I got some duck cloth for the table, and this is what it looks like when it went on the table. And oh no, your staples are here. I thought about just like taking a black Sharpie and just kind of blacking them in. And if I had paid a little bit more attention, I could have like done it a little nicer, but I think it'll be all right. The intention was basically when I didn't want to keep filming underneath the table. And so that's what we did with that. All right, moving on. More pictures. And so we finally got these screens. So these screens will kind of help kind of keep the background kind of out. And so it's the background's not the focus is the table, but I know the background was kind of getting a little annoying. And the Pseudomon, you might know, this is a 6x4 because it's a 6x4 mat, and I did the stop motion battle report on 6x4 instead of the minimum requirement for 2,000 point battle report first rec mission, which is what, 60 by 44 or whatever, 40 by 66 or whatever it is. I still like 6x4, and so I wanted to do 6x4. I do have a little of adjuster, but it's like the hazmat adjuster to make this smaller. It's like an overlay, and it is way bright yellow and very distracting. And I think one of my friends who looked at it was like, that's sickeningly yellow. And I was like, yeah, I probably won't use it. I'll probably flip it over. But this is what it looks like when everything's kind of pushed in. Because of the way I have to film and move around the table, it won't look like this when I'm using it for a stop motion report, but this is when I'm taking just like nice photos of stuff. And this is me when I'm starting to build the Kroot, and Lily is being a monster, and she clearly doesn't like Kroot. She clearly is an Imperial swine, or she is, or not Imperial swine, she's an Imperial dog, yeah, or she is a Tyrannid. We're not sure yet. We finally started slugging through it. We finished it up. We got all 16 done. And once I got them built, they were pretty good. But they took a little... It's weird because they're not super detailed, but they are very thin. They're very flimsy, and it's not a huge fan of the crew building them. Moved on to building the rest of the Tau. So if you have never seen this before, the rubber band method is actually from a White Dwarf from I don't remember how long ago. I read this in a White Dwarf. It's like, hey, when you're building like a Rhino or something, or like, was it a White Dwarf or How to Build? It was some GW book that they released a long time ago. And it was like, hey, when you're building a Tau and then like they're not kind of sitting perfect together, just wrap them with rubber bands and it's perfect. It helps really good. And so we got the first one. This is my Halloween candy. This is what I gave out. And so we're getting closer to the end of the month. And yeah. And they took half of it was taken by the trick-or-treaters, and then I brought the other half to work because I was just eating it. All right, moving on. So we finally actually finished our Tau. So I bought this Tau army, I think January. It was between winter 2018 and January 2019. So almost 3 years ago, I bought this army. And I was like, I want to build the 8 because this is right when I heard about the 8. I'm like, I want to build them. And so I want to build the 8. I want to build like a Farsight army. And so the majority of this was already bought. The resin bases were bought around the same time, and those were from Secret Weapon Miniatures, I do believe, which I think is out of business now. And so, unfortunately, the Croots, I didn't have enough spare of they're like, you'll see in a second. I'll zoom in. So it's kind of an urban city fight base scheme. We got some. What are these guys? These are just XV8 bodyguards with double missile pod and advanced targeting, I think, to give them additional AP. And then we have a Cold Star commander with shield generator and 3 fusion blasters. I went with shield generator a lot. I've seen a lot of them with just 4 fusion blasters, but I kind of want a little bit more survivability. Our infantry, this is why I had to get those devilfish that were in the previous picture. I needed 4 devilfish because originally I only had 1 devilfish for the Pathfinder squad, and but I wanted to get 3 for these. And these didn't take too long to build, but I don't ever want to build devilfish ever again because they're not the most complex transport. They're way easier in my mind than building the million chimeras. When I build the world leaders, you build 6 rhino chassis, and I just not a huge fan of building rhino chassis over and over again. So they're not terrible to build. I just don't want to build them again. So, but we got the 3 strike squads, and we have the Cadre Fireblade. They all have the what do they call that? The Farsight's shoulder pad. So good there. Then they have 2 marker drones each and the SMS little thing they throw down. That's kind of cool how they throw it down. You basically go out in the battlefield, and then at any point, I think it's a moving phase, or at some point, you go, all right, here's a turret, and as long as you stay within unit coherency of the turret, it stays there. So it's really good if you're like gun line, you're not going to move. If you're going to move a lot, it's probably not that great, but once you reach an objective and you want to hunker down, throw a missile pod down, that'd be pretty cool. And then Cadre Fireblade. Here is the 8. I've wanted to build the 8 for probably 4 years. I wanted to build them, and then I ordered basically most of the models, and so we got the Riptide and let's say the Riptide, the Broadsword. I don't know all the names, like their character names, and then we got 1 commander suit in there, and then the rest were all like XV8 suits with the fusion blasters, the flamers, and the plasma flamers, and all their what do you call those? All their drones, solar drones. And I am super excited to paint them. As you can see, they're Farsight, but I'm going to paint them all blue. So I decided, like, what is it? What's the term? I don't want to say that I'm too... Oh, what is it? Oh, man, I'm trying to think. Not pompous. What is it? Not artisanal. I mean, artisanal people who say artisanal would... hipster, yeah. I'm not super hipster, but I painted a lot of red recently, and I was like, I wanted to paint some of the blue. And so I had painted this a while ago when I decided I wanted to go with the blue scheme. And it's blue and gray with a little bit of gold and red, and I think it works really well. And so, yeah, we're going to be painting this Farsight army up a nice blue color. Keep it on going. We got our Farsight. I really like rail rifles. And you can take 3, so I put 3 rail rifles in there. And that guy standing next to the Devilfish, he's actually going to be in that open cockpit. I just put him on a little stand so I can paint him easier. We got our Kroot, and we have 2 regular XV8 commanders with Iridium armor, I think it is, believe. And they have double missile pod, plasma rifle, and advanced targeting system, I think it is, for the extra AP. And then, I think... Oh, are we going backwards? Okay, here we go. All right, so, yep, I think I took a couple extra pictures. Or maybe these ones look overexposed. Jeez. Then this is what the army looks like in the display case. And, of course, we have our lovely Tallarn. And then we have our Tau right next to them. And hopefully they don't fight when I'm not looking toy soldier style. This is kind of where they sit. And then we got those 2 Master of Ordnance down there that we're going to paint up at some point. Then we got those. We start right into this. So what we're going to do with this APC is... This was actually not terrible to put together, but with like all resin, you had to soak it. I soaked it. It didn't feel like super shiny or tacky. So I think they did do a good mold release job. I think they did washed it before they sent it to me. It wasn't super tacky, but I did wash it anyways in a little soapy water. Magnetized all the weapon options because it wasn't super complicated. We just had to magnetize the front, and we had to magnetize the turret, which you don't see. Well, you see all the different options magnetized. So we're more than likely probably going to be a flamer on this guy. But this is going to be anytime I take Yarick, this is his Chimera. If I'm going to take Yarick with a Chimera, this is his personal Chimera proxy. And because Yarick needs his own Pimpmobile, and I was originally going to paint this all black like the Fortress of Arrogance with black and with gold rivets. I'm probably going to do black with, or green, dark forest green with, or olive green with a black tiger stripe is probably what I'm going to be doing. Kind of like really dark and hard to see. Like kind of camouflage a little bit. It's kind of what I want to do. Because he comes with his own squad of so this is a vet squad that I used. Now unfortunately, if you look below, you see a power fist, you see a bolter, and you see a heavy flamer. These bits do not fit well with the female kit. And they tell you that. They're like, hey, the female sprue that we sell doesn't really fit with like normal GW arms and stuff. But I thought I was like, maybe I can get it to work. And it just looks a little too chunky. And so I abandoned those extra upgrades. But we went with a power sword, or what I'm going to use as a power sword. We got power sword, bolt gun. It's going to look pretty good. These models were super easy to put together. It's funny because they were still a little tacky in certain areas from like 3D. So I don't know how their 3D printer is working, but the supports were easy to clip off, and the models were relatively easy to put together. And yeah, and I think these gals are going to do a great job. My plan is to paint them all the same, whatever same green I use for the tank is going to be what their main armor is going to be used. And then for their hats, it's going to be black because Yarick is traditionally black, and I'm going to paint him a traditional Commissar color scheme. And I wanted them to be like his guard, like his personal bodyguard, this squad of 10 veterans. And so I think they're looking pretty cool. Moving on. And so we got, in the squad, we have 3 melta-guns. The sergeant's got a bolt gun and a sword, and everybody else has the same las gun, but obviously they look like auto guns. So we could say they're auto guns because auto guns and las guns have the same power toughness and rapid fire rules. They're basically the same gun. But yeah, this is what they look like. This is the Chimera proxy, and these are all from Victoria Miniatures, if I didn't say before. And I think they look pretty good. So we're going to drop down 3 melta-guns, and Yarick is going to pop out there. We're going to use the tank. We're going to do some flaming, and I think it's going to be like a nice centerpiece for the army. But I wanted it to be slightly different because I want to be able to take this squad here, this unit, in any Imperial Guard army I have, and just go, yeah, we're Acadians today. And or we're Steel Legion, and I brought Yarick, and you're like, but you don't match the rest of the army. I'm like, well, yeah, they're Yarick's personal bodyguard. And I think they look pretty good. And it kind of gave me an excuse to order this model, and so yeah. All right, moving on. Okay, so I have been staring at this stupid Space Marines Hero Kit 3 for like 2 years, maybe. I bought Space Marine Series 1, which are in my Blood Angels, and Series 2 were in my Blood Angels. And I bought Series 3. It was like right before I left Japan. I went to the GW store and I saw they had Series 3. And I was like, ooh, I should buy this before I leave. And so I bought 2 of these. And I bought 2 of the painting sets, which come with a Malignant Plaguecaster in there. And I have 1 Malignant Plaguecaster set sealed because I don't plan on using 2. Well, I had 2 Malignant Plaguecasters already, and I don't plan on using 3, and so that one's not assembled, but I needed this squad for the Death Guard army, and so I built it. And then, of course, before I built it, I was like, hey, we finished our Tau. We should move on to another project. We should continue building, because this is the time of the year where I just want to build. And the oldest army that I have left that's not older than the Tau is my Empire army. And so yeah, we grabbed our Empire army. We grabbed all the boxes. I've already built I've done a built to test model, as you see up here. We have zooming in. We got these 4 dudes. So we got a crossbowman, our handgunner dude, a greatsword guy, and a halberdier. They're basic infantry. They all have a slightly different quartering pattern. So this guy on the right half, he's got the blue. On the left half, he's got the khaki. The great swords are blue top, khaki bottom. And these guys are quartered differently, so blue, blue, gray, 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 or tan, tan, blue, blue. So the quartering, this is going to match whatever their quarter, like whatever standard bearer they have is basically just going to match whatever color they have. I'm not going to do any like freehand art or crazy things on there. But so yeah, we pulled these out because we're like, well, they are the oldest army. We really need to get into it. And I kind of wanted to take a slight break from 40K. And I wanted to assemble some Age of Sigmar. And we have these round bases down here. So these are also from Secret Weapon Miniatures. Unfortunately, I think they're out of business. And so I'm glad I bought as many as I did for this army. This army is about 2,800 points. So if I need 200 more points. And so between some stuff around, I might have to order a couple characters. And so I think those characters are going to have different bases. And I might still have a couple bases left over for characters, but not very many. But yeah, so we got, in this army, we have 3 units of great swords, 2 units of halberdiers, 3 units of handgunners, 3 units of crossbowmen, 2 steam tanks, 2 squads of griffin riders, 2 Hellblaster bullet guns, 2 Hellstorm rocket batteries, Call Friends on a Demigriff, or on a Griffin, I don't know what to say, Demigriff, and then a Warrior Priest on Warhorse, and I think that's it. That's a lot. It's well over 100 infantry, and we're working on it right now. I got the first squad built already, and we're gonna move on to the second squad of greatswords. They're actually surprisingly not too hard to build. And their mold lines aren't terrible. I mean, I wish their mold lines could be better, but I wish they were. They're not the worst mold lines I've ever dealt with. This blue box right here is actually a defect box, because you might, if you're counting the boxes, if you're playing along at home, this box is a defect box. It's funny because when I bought this army, I opened it up, and normally I don't open every single box. And I just happened to open up one box, and I looked at it, and all of the faces of the models were crushed in like a factory defect process, and I was like, aw. And so I contacted GW. I was like, hey, I bought this box, and I just got it. I just randomly opened this one box, and it was crushed. And they sent me another box of handgunners like a couple weeks later for free. Or, well, within a couple days. I got it a couple weeks later, like 1 or 2 weeks later for free. So I have a spare box of handgunners for bits, but a lot of the bits in that handgunners box are pretty damaged. So we're, yeah. But either way. I bought this army based upon beating Total War Warhammer 1 or 2. I can't remember which one I was playing. I think it was 2. I was playing Mortal Empires, and I beat the short campaign. And I hadn't beat the long campaign, but I beat the short campaign with basically an army very similar to this. And I was like, oh man, I need to buy it, because I was worried Age of Sigmar was going to get rid of all their human empire models when Stormcast were coming out. And I was like, so I bought all these. Luckily, we still have all of the kits in here, minus the Warrior Priest on Warhorse. All of the kits in this army are still readily available if you want to get your own Cities of the Sigmar army. And yeah, I think I don't know if they're ever going to get a refresh. I don't know if Free Guilds is ever going to get like a major upgrade, because Stormcast seems to be the way they want to go. But I'm super excited to get this on the battlefield. I think it's going to look crazy with the amount of infantry. And yeah, well, that is a project that we just started like 3 days ago. But here is me working on those Death Guard. And so I got all 6 of the Death Guard. These are from the Series 2 kit. And we got ourselves our little champion with our plasma pistol and a plague knife. We got plague spewer or spitter, I can't remember. And then we just got bolt gun dude, flail, and standard bearer. I think he's got a bolt gun somewhere on there. I think on the back, maybe not, maybe a bolt pistol. There's a gun somewhere on here, I think. And then, of course, this is annoying to put in there, by the way, if you've never done this. Also, these models, they are plastic. I don't know what type of plastic they are, but they are plastic. But the plastic glue from GW doesn't work super great on these. Super glue works better for these, but obviously, if you're going to use a super glue, because they're pushed together, and if your super glue dries super fast and you haven't clicked them together, also be prepared for the stupid click things to snap off. You're like, oh, on a test fit, I'm going to dry fit, and then you're like, I'm going to pull it off. Oh, I just broke it. So if you get a hold of a Series 2 kit, just be aware that assembling them is mildly difficult, but you can also just clip those off and just glue them on normally. They do sit better if they're glued on there, but either way. But I have 2 of these for my army, and I have a regular. I have the old Dominion Imperial. Whenever they released Primaris Space Marines in that Primaris Death Guard kit that came out when 8th edition came out, so I have another squad of those guys. All right, and here we go. We got our. This is when we started building our greatswords, and so the base idea for these is they're fighting. What are those guys? What are those rat guys? Skaven. So the idea is that they're on like either a Skaven or chaos-infested desert, which is all cracked and filled with green goo. And so I think it's going to look pretty sweet when I get them all battled. Originally, I was going to do all the bases separately, but I was like, we'll just glue them onto the bases. We'll prime them black, more than likely, do a zenithal highlight, and then we'll just paint the bases black with the green goo inside it. So it'll look pretty good. We got our standard bearer. Now, the weird thing is, so the standard bearer in the kit, there's 3 recommended legs, and I was like, I just use these legs because I think these legs look cool. And they were in the recommended legs, so I couldn't have the standard bearer where his arm was and everything standing like straight up and down, so it had to be tilted forward and tilted back. This is tilted forward. This is how I do mass assembly. I make little squad boxes, and then this is what it turns out to. And so, yeah, the little banner flag is leaned forward a little bit, but I think these guys are looking pretty sweet. One thing I really actually appreciate about Age of Sigmar is they kind of made all the units kind of the equipping out individual weapon loadouts to the units was different in fantasy, where the Zweihander sword and the Great Sword had different weapon damage profiles. I do believe they did. And like the standard bearer who has like the axe or the sword has like a different weapon profile, if I remember correctly. And same with the hornblower. And so all they have now is like, hey, you build a squad of great swords, you can take a hornblower, you're going to take a banner. If you're going to take those, cool. They have rules that like they do things to help the squad out. But as far as what sword you want to carry, we don't care. Just make it look like a great sword, make it look like a big heavy sword. You can take this Zweihander, you can take the other Claymore, I guess would be what you call it. Great sword would probably be fine. But just do whatever you want. And so it's going to help me when I'm building the other 2 squads, just kind of like, just mix and match however I want to do. So I think the freedom in how I model it, not being WYSIWYG not mattering too much in Age of Sigmar, is going to be pretty good. Finally, we got ourselves, we had ordered, so this is for that Salamander Raptor army, and so we'd order Adrax Agatone. He was the other, I meant to order him when I ordered the other order with Vulcan, and I forgot to put him in the shopping cart, so I had to order him separately. So if you're looking for, if you buy the normal Devastator squad for Space Marines, I think you get 2 multi-meltas in it, 1 or 2, I think you get 2. But if you want 4, or you want 5, go get yourselves the multi-melta set from Forge World for Horus Heresy. They are nice, and supposedly they work on everything. But that is why I bought that Mark IV Horus Heresy, that Mark IV Tactical Squad, so I can use them to make my Devastators, and so I can use them to make my Stern Guard. And then the Space Marine Legion Combi weapon set, you get 5 Combi Plasma, 5 Combi Flamer, and 5 Combi Melta. So those are great, and they look really nice. If you have the Mark IV kit, you get 1 combi weapon in the Mark IV kit, so you get a total of 6 combi weapons if you buy 1 box of any one. Like I want 6 combi meltas. Well, you get 1 in the Mark IV kit, and you get 1 in here. You don't get any in the Mark III kit for some weird reason, but okay. And then I got the Salamander's Venerable Dreadnought character. I forget what his name is, but I got him and his two arms, so it was gonna be pretty sweet. But yeah, this is for the Salamander Army. This is 2022 project. Last few set of pictures. So they have the armies on parade, and I entered in armies on parade for these 2 armies that I had. It's my entire Catachan army, plus as many Blood Angels as I could fit on the board. Is basically what it was. Do I think I'm going to win? No. Do I think I just want to like kind of be in like the gallery of like, hey, this is a pretty cool looking force here of Imperial guys. And I kind of wanted to showcase to the kind of the wider audience, hey, you can do alternate color schemes for Blood Angels. And so like my Sanguinary Guard are black and red, and my Death Guard are this ivory color. And so that's kind of why I did that. But yeah, I got them on the requirement was a 2x2 foot board. And so obviously this was before I did the upgrades to the table, but I put all of the, what do you call this? Put all the CAD chans on there. I think the Valkyries kind of like make the whole army look really awesome. They were the first thing that I painted when I came back from my trip overseas, and I really enjoyed those. And we got our close combat Terminators here. Those are actually rocks. those are two rocks he's standing on. I remember when I was like, I need something cool, so I built the rocks. But everything else I just kind of used the Martian sander is whatever it is. Couple more glamour shots. Those Hellhounds. If you have ever played with Hellhounds that have Hellhounds, a 100 killer missile, a heavy stubber, and a melta-gun on the hull, they do a lot of damage. With the Inferno cannon and the melta-gun and everything, they chew through enemies relatively quickly. They are some of the more terrifying units I have in my army, and I always try to take at least one. If I can take all three, I will take all three, because they will chew through a lot. They are a very good tank. They also explode, which is fun. But I think this is the final glamour shot. I think there might be one more picture after this. Nope. Yep, there's one. So my Smash Captain, rest in peace, Smash Captain. Spoiler alert, if you didn't watch the Stop Motion Battle Report, he shows up. But yeah, okay. All right, okay. So, let's get into this. All right, let's talk about this. I have acquired a lot of Warhammer models. We saw my pile of shame. I have a lot of Warhammer models that I bought over the last year. Basically, when I came back from my trip, I had a whole bunch of money. I spent all that money. Not all of it, but I spent a majority of it. And luckily, I only spent maybe like 20-30% of it on Warhammer models. The rest of it I bought like an exercise bike. I paid some debt off. I bought my parents a new bathroom, which kind of wish I didn't, but whatever. Well, they're getting a little older and they wanted a full submersion tub, and so they were like, "Oh, we really like this," and I was like, "Oh, I got some money," so I sent them some money. This is a way longer video than I thought it was going to be. Apologies for that if anyone is still here. But I've been buying more models than I really need to. My backlog's been really high, and I was like, all right, look, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna not buy any more models until my birthday. And so my birthday's in April. So that's quite a while away. That's like 150 plus days away. And so I was like, all right, cool. I think I'm on day 11 of not having bought a single model. I have one more order that I bought in October, because it's November now. I bought like 11 days ago that hasn't shipped or anything. And that order is just Commander Dante, 1.5 pack of jump packs to give my Sanguinary Priest a jump pack. Because I was just like, fine, I'll buy a thing. And then Kato Sicarius, because I wanted to get free shipping, and I needed over $35 to get free shipping. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll just get a Kato Sicarius. It'll be kind of funny. So I was like, all right, so I'm not going to buy any more models until my birthday. So the plan is 20 business days before my birthday, because it seems like Forge World can take up to 20 business days to ship you. If I have bought no models between now and, which I believe is March 9th, I believe is 20 days before my birthday, 20 business days before my birthday. You can do the math. If I bought no models by that day, I will buy everything on this picture. So here's what the thing. I was going to buy a Manta. I was like, you know what? If I don't buy any models between my birthday, I'm buying a Manta. And then like Squidmar's been buying Manta, 40K in 40 minutes bought a Manta. Somebody else bought a Manta. I think there was a third thing that bought a Manta. And of course, none of us are any cooler than the 19th Legion. He bought his Manta ages ago, and he has a whole series on how to paint it or how to assemble it. He hasn't painted it yet, but how to assemble it. So if you're trying to figure, if you want a Manta, go find the 19th Legion. That guy, great job. He can get about as rambly as I can, if not more, which is not a terrible thing. But yeah, so check him out if you want to see how to build a Manta. But I was gonna build one, and I was like, I don't know if I want to deal with like every Manta I've ever seen is not smooth. And I'm like, you know what I should do? Instead of buying a Manta, which is going to be one giant project that's going to be annoying, how would I buy a bunch of smaller projects that's going to be annoying for the same cost? So the Manta, as of the filming of this video, is $1,705 plus shipping and handling, I think. Maybe. No, I think shipping is probably free for something that expensive. Plus tax. We'll say plus tax. Probably plus tax. So I was like, all right, what can I get that's equivalently cool for my Tau army instead of just a Manta, because I'm like, I don't want to build a Manta and the Hammerhead. I don't want to build all that extra stuff. And so I was like, oh, let's look at the Tower Supremacy Armor. And I was talking to the guy that has built one of these and uses them and actually has played games with them. And they recommended the tri-axial ion cannons, and they recommended the Pulse Ordnance Multi-Driver instead of the Railgun and the other gun. And I was like, all right, cool. So I got the Taunar armor, which is relatively not expensive. And then I was looking at the Tiger Sharks, and I was like, well, the Taunar armor by itself is not 2,000 points like the Manta. And so I was like, how about I get close to 2,000 points? And so between the Taunar Supremacy armor and, which is 1,000 points, I believe, with all this stuff, I looked at the Tiger Shark AX with the heavy railguns, which were pretty sweet. And then I looked at regular Tiger Shark, which I think I was going to put the ion cannons on it, I think. And so those are, I was like, sweet. But we still had money left over to get that $1,700. And so I have 2 Marcarius Vanquishers, but I don't have a Marcarius Heavy Tank. And so I was like, I'm going to sneak one of those in there. And then originally I had the Satan Demon for my Corn Army, and then I had the Greater Corn Demon. And I was like, my Imperial Guard army needs a giant flyer. My Catachans, who have Valkyries, need something also equally cool. And so I'm looking at the Marauder Destroyer, which is expensive. But it's got a lot of guns on it, and it looks cool. So that's the plan. Hold me to it. If I don't buy any models between now and March 9th, I will order this. And so, but in order to accommodate all of this, not money, unless I suddenly find myself homeless, then this channel's got other problems. I'll have the money saved up for this by then. It won't be a problem. This is a way for me to not spend money on Warhammer, and also to motivate me to finish assembling as many models as I can. So when these guys show up, I don't have a lot of stuff in the way. And then my plan is in around April is to take 2 weeks of vacation and do a super heavy video. I don't know if it's going to be assembling the other Bane Blades I have, assembling these, painting these. I don't know what it's going to be, but there will be some sort of super heavy video around April on the channel whenever I get these to show up. Will it be an assembly video? Maybe not. It'll probably be a painting video of me painting one of the super heavies. I don't know if it's going to be one of these, but yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it. That has been the long rant, and I'm going to I don't know, I'm going to play some Dawn of War 2. I kind of want to relax a little bit. I was in the sun all day, and I'm a little tired. I'm probably going to play some Dawn of War 2, or I'm going to assemble some... No, I'm definitely going to play some Dawn of War 2. These, I'm gonna wake up bright and early tomorrow. We'll put these together. I'll probably get through about maybe 40, 50 models tomorrow. Maybe 40. Probably get through 40 models tomorrow. Probably get through the Great Swords and the State Troops, and then all I have is the shooty guys. And then probably by next week, probably get through the artillery and the steam tanks and everything. So hope you guys enjoyed, and it's been a long video, and if you watched it at all, please hit the like button. And I don't ask for any money. I don't have a Patreon or anything, but I really, really like some likes and some subscribers. So please do both of those things, and hope you have a great day, and see you around.